This is a really nice diagram to kind of show you how all of the equations actually do relate to each other, and you may have already been getting a sense of that. And by the end of the lesson, you're going to be able to jump between and convert between all of them. And you get pretty good at it. And then we're going to revisit this topic, getting into acid-base equilibrium. So this isn't the only time that you're going to be using these log equations. So I just want to point out that, like, if you have the pH, which is what this one starts with, you can calculate the H3O plus. If you have the H3O plus, you can calculate the OH. If you have the OH, you can calculate the POH. And I know we started with the pH, but if you have the POH, you can work your way back around to the pH. Likewise, if instead of it saying it had a pH of 4.2, if it had said it had a that should say OH of 6.7, and it wanted to know all those things. So here now I have a POH. So I can always calculate, that's what I have. So I can always calculate my OH. Once I have my OH, I can always calculate for my H3O plus. Once I have my H3O plus, I can always calculate for my pH, and I can go ahead and go over here and I can say, oh, well, if I have my pH, I can always calculate my POH. But that's what I started with. But note that, like, if you have pH and you just are trying to get to something, you can, either side of these are going to be helpful to you. So if you have, instead of pH, if you had like H3O plus equals 1 times 10 to the minus 2, if you had that, if you remember how to get between these two, it's great if you can remember how to get from that solved version. But this is actually the easier way to do it. It's already written out for you. So like log of H3O plus equals pH, you can get that one to pH. And then you can work your way around to POH, and you can work your way around that way if you need to. So kind of depending on what information you're given, you can follow those circles around and get to everything else. So let's use the right circle and help us get through one of these, and then you can kind of practice it a few times on your own. And if you don't like the circles, you can just remember the equations and just use the equations as you need, and that's totally fine too. So what is the H3O plus? Well, to get to the H3O plus, it's 10 to the negative pH is equal to the H3O plus concentration. So 10 to the negative 4.2 is equal to H3O plus. And I can just put that in my calculator. 10 raised to the negative 4.2. So that's going to tell me that my answer is 6.309 equals my times 10 to the, don't forget, these are always going to be a times 10 to the minus 5th H3O plus. Now I have my H3O plus, and I could go all the way around from my H3O plus, and I could take it to OH, and that might be the fastest way of doing it. I could also go back up to my pH and work with my pH. So there's a few ways I could go on to that final one, but I'm just going to go on around 1 times 10 to the minus 14th over the 6.309 times 10 to the minus 5th equals my OH concentration. So I just took just if you weren't sure what equation, I took this one right here. So 1 times 10 to the minus 14th over H3O plus equals OH minus. So I've already got that number in my calculator, and there are some problems like in the homework where you have to go between them. So just keep that number in your calculator. So I'm going to use 1 second e to the minus 14th divided by, and I'm going to use my second and then answer key. For me, it's the one that's just above the negative sign. So that's going to give me my OH. 1.584 times 10 to the minus 10th is OH. Now at this point, we've got two ways of doing it. I can either just take the negative log of it to get to the POH, or I could go back to my pH and subtract. So I'm gonna point that out also. I just have a tendency to prefer subtracting, but I've already got this in my calculator. So if I do negative log, and then again, second answer, that gives me that my POH is equal to 9.8. But I also could have done that over here at the beginning and just jumped to the POH. Move this over to this side, because I know that 14 minus the pH is the POH. So 14 minus 4.2 is equal to 4 minus 4.2, 9.8. So there were kind of like two ways of doing that. And that's actually what's going to happen in these circles. You can kind of find more than one way to get to the answer.